Welcome to the Kayla Lee Show. We're about to leave behind those old school beliefs and those low vibe limitations that lead you to exhaustion and to burnout as you grow your business. Together, we will explore how you can 2x your revenue in the next 90 days, how you can reclaim back 10 plus hours of your week, how you can rapidly create a multi-6-figure business or a 7-figure business in less than 12 months. Welcome back to the Kayla Lee Show. I am so excited for our incredible guest that we have on here today. And we're actually going to be diving into a bit of a part 1 and part 2 series of this conversation because this conversation was extraordinary. This conversation will shift everything for you, and you will not leave these conversations not feeling incredibly inspired by the incredible Lala from Lala's Updo. Lala is one of the heart-centered leaders of the hair and beauty industry. She has created a community of over 633,000 on Instagram. She has launched her bridal hairstyling academy. She's launched her bridal hairstyling online academy. She has launched her Lala tools, and she is now more than ever, she has recently launched her mentorship and coaching. And more recently, as in at the time of this recording, she is launching her memoir, Dandelions. Lala, I have admired since I first started my business back in 2013, when Instagram wasn't even a thing. And in this conversation, Lala is going to share with you exactly what she has overcome to get to where she is today. And from looking from the outside in, it might look like it's just been success, success, success. And it might look like it's been easy, easy, easy. But this podcast, this episode, actually these 2 episodes, these 2 parts, you will see a depth to Lala in what she has had to overcome and the challenges that she has experienced, and truly a complete testament to the perseverance that she has had throughout her entire journey for her vision. She has unlocked her inner power, she has unlocked her resilience, and she has been on quite the journey, which you will not leave these podcasts not feeling inspired. Inspired from her journey, inspired from her growth, inspired through the adversity, inspired through her challenges, and inspired through Lala's ability to find the silver lining, and inspired through Lala's ability to break through what would be a perceived failure. I think that hearing Lala's journey will shift everything for you, and it will help you to see that there is so much more available to you. And that is why I was so excited to have Lala here on the podcast, because as you know, one of my greatest gifts and visions that I hold for our industry is for you to genuinely break through, for you to reach the goals and the vision that you desire, that is on your heart, that your soul already knows is available to you. And Lala's story is going to shift everything for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me and for thinking of me.
Oh, I'm so excited. I have admired your work for so long. I think so. How long have you had when did you first start your upstyling, like your tutorials and your Instagram page?
I started my career in 2014. In 2014, I was a full-time colorist. I was a correction color specialist and a cut specialist. I did not know anything about upstyling.
Oh my,
Like 9 years ago, I didn't even know how to do, like, honest to God, I could not do a 3 strands braid. I didn't even know how to.
you're like, but I
And
will.
But I never actually wanted to become a bridal stylist. I became a bridal stylist by accident. I had one of my longtime clients asking me to do her hair for her wedding, and because her stylist back up gave up on her like last minute, and I agreed just because she insisted, and she convinced me that I can do it, and she only wanted some curls pinned up, and I'm like, oh. okay, that's the least I learned in school. I can curl and pin up, right? And that's pretty much what brought me to the bridal industry, because that turned into a complete mess. The style didn't turn out like anything that she wanted. We ended up washing her hair, making her be 2 hours late for her wedding,
Oh my
and
God.
I was devastated by that. That I can't even call it mistake. For me, it was like literally the end of the world. I
Mhm.
almost wanted to give up on doing hair all around, even if I
Mhm.
was not doing bridal hair, because I felt like that was such a failure. And messing up someone's big day, it's a big deal, and I felt so bad about it that I almost gave up on actually doing hair for 2 weeks. I gave a notice at the salon and I said, you know what, I'm gonna stick with renting apartments, because I was doing that full-time job and I was doing
Mhm.
hair actually part-time, because the management job was paying
Mhm.
my bills, and putting a roof above my head. And I was doing hair after hours, and I was like, this is not I'm not where I was supposed to be. I'm quitting on hair. I can't believe I did this. And obviously I'm not a quitter, otherwise I wouldn't be here where I'm at. And I was so devastated about that I kind of like challenged myself to get out of my comfort zone and learn how to do that style that she asked for. And I honestly did not wanted to learn any bridal hair or deal with any brides ever in my career. All I wanted is to learn how to do that bun. And back in 2014, the social media was not what it is today. Instagram just came on the market. Not too many people were on it. YouTube had no tutorials on how to style hair other than just simple braids. It wasn't like so much free education that you can find right now
Mhm.
to get yourself to a different
Mhm.
level as far as your skills and knowledge is. So I literally had to practice on my own, and I've just learned how to do three strands braids, and then I took it from there and put my creativity to work. And I opened an Instagram account because everyone else had one, back then. And I thought, okay, if I want to keep up with the trends, I need to open an Instagram account, even if I'm almost 40 and I don't know what a hashtag means. And I'm not really into social media, but I did it. And the rest of it is like honestly history. That happened in August of 2014. In October, shortly after, I opened an Instagram account. And because there was no algorithm back then, of course,
Yeah.
if beautiful work and unique work that will attract the eye, and it was something that people didn't see out there, of course people would feel attracted to it. And because Instagram was in the beginning, we would be able to grow anywhere from 2000 to, I would say, 20,000 followers a day. And
Oh
with
my
2000
goodness.
you could grow in a day,
That is
and 20,000
insane.
people would be the most that you can gain in a day if you ended up on the Explorer page or you got a big account to share your work. So obviously, because my work was a little bit unique, since I there was a not, and like I said, because Instagram was at the beginning, there was not so many people out there. Like when I opened my Instagram account, the only people that were doing bridal hair and were actually known in the industry was Heather Chapman
Yeah.
and Jenny, the Confession of a Hairstylist. And I
Yeah.
remember they were the first two ones that I started to follow. So because it was not so much competition and the market was not saturated with so much beauty and so much free education, it was a lot of room to grow. So
Mhm.
I found myself from August to December to a following of over 13,000 followers in only a matter of few months, right? And people started to reach out to me and asking me to train them on bridal hair, and it was surreal, like literally surreal, because I was not a bridal stylist. I was not an.
You were still in
I was
denial.
honest to God, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just a creative person that discovered a new hobby. And but from that to teaching, it was like, what are these people talking about? Don't they see? And
Mm.
then I realized that my page is all just upstyling. Yeah, they see your page is
They're
upstyling.
watching. They're saving and
And
they're stalking. But you know
like
what I think is amazing is that your content, like your creativity would have really been illuminated because back then you couldn't really just casually stalk Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, every platform,
that
Pinterest. for inspiration or tutorials or how to's or anything like that, whereas now you can. So that would have meant that you would have truly had to intuitively create these styles on your own and learn your own pathway rather than learning from everybody else and getting those ideas. So that's probably what.
Absolutely. Started, upstyling was still old school. Most of the styling was a lot of curling, a lot of pinning. Nobody was really using elastics back then. There were no quick tutorials of a 10, 15-minute styles we're still taking like at least an hour and a half back then. And when I started to do bridal hair, because I got more and more requests, and when I realized how much money I can make in one weekend
Mhm.
versus of doing color correction for 7, 8 hours on a client, and color was not paid well back in the days as it is right now, right? And the techniques that we were using back in the days were completely different than what is on the market right now. So it was tough to make money out of color back in the days. And when I saw how easy it is to make money behind the chair, working only few hours on the weekend, I started to spend more and more time into that, trying to elevate my skills and my knowledge in that area. And I forgot my thought, what I was trying to say with that.
Oh,
You said
really?
something. Oh, this is what I was trying to say, that we were doing old school bridal hair, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And because I was in between three jobs, like I had my full-time job as a property manager, working from 8 to 4 in the office, having my toddler daughter with me. And then after hours, I would go in the salon, having my daughter with me in the salon, waiting for walk-ins. And on weekends, I was working in senior houses, doing hair and nails for the seniors, or just giving days off, changing diapers for the seniors, just to make an extra buck. And that schedule that I had, and the fact that I had to carry my daughter with me everywhere I went, in every place of work, including weekends, waking up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to make it to my client's home at 5 so I can finish a bridal party of 10 by 10 o'clock, right? And I would have my daughter sleeping on those couches like every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, on people's couches, coming in and like pulling my sleeve. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, when are we gonna
Oh.
go? And all that
Mhm.
hardship uh kind of like motivated me to put even more time into my craft and figure out ways on how I could get ready a party of 10 and come up with techniques that will cut my styling time in half.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that's how I came up with the elastics. I was one of the first bridal stylists on the market that came up with these quick techniques. And
Mhm.
a lot of people kind of told me that I was one of the first that revolutionized pretty much the bridal industry with these new techniques that were not following any of the old school rules,
Mhm.
right? And for me, it was out of necessity. It was not that I was trying to be more creative. I was just trying to get out of those people's houses and get my baby home.
Yeah.
And that eventually became my niche, as my specialty, and that's what people got to know me for simplifying the art of upstyling, making people fall in love with it, and feeling like this is something I can do, even if I'm
Mhm.
a beginner, or even if I'm not a bridal stylist. This is something I can do. And
Yeah.
my career was pretty much built on that, the fact that I didn't follow any of the old rules and came up with all these new quick and easy techniques that will give you a result that it looked like you actually spend hours on it. People fell in love with that. And i I want to believe that my success in the bridal industry was so quick, and I didn't follow a certain pattern that we have in the hair industry to make it where I'm at today, which is
Mhm.
years and years and years. It's because I didn't follow the old rules and I didn't
Mhm.
follow the old steps.
But
And I chose of my own.
that is like one of the things I love about you. And when we met in at Beyond the Ponytail, when you were speaking on stage at Beyond the Ponytail and you shared your story, what I loved and what I deeply connected with the most was when you're hit with like adversity or challenges or like roadblocks or things that are just not working out, instead of just like going down that same pathway, you like very quickly shift and pivot and transform and just make it even better and even better and even better and even better. And so I love like what you've just shared there with, you know, your passion being like, how can I simplify this? But your ultimate goal was so you could get your daughter home and you weren't spending hours like there doing the hair for a bridal party, and you were just innovating, 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 innovating instead of just doing what you've been told or how it should be done or how it's done in the past. Um, that is one of the things that I loved the most, was like how you shared all of your challenges that you had, oh, oh my gosh, throughout your entire life. And how you have like overcome that. Would you, I would love you to share a little bit more about this, because when you shared about Dandelions and when you shared about your memoir that you are creating or have written now, it's written now, hasn't it? The
It's
memoir.
actually published,
It's
available
pub
to purchase.
so people can
Yes.
purchase. We
I
have like,
12, which is my birthday,
oh, is it?
but already on Amazon. And I didn't put the link out there because I wanted to create a little bit of,
Curiosity.
noise about it and around it. But it's actually on Amazon already, and it's
Oh,
ready to
well, we
purchase.
will pop the link. We'll pop the link down in the show notes of the podcast. We've kind of like dove straight into our podcast. I didn't even get to do an introduction, and everything you've just shared is so valuable and incredible. So I'm gonna like pop that out, cut that out, and then pop that a little further in.
Okay,
But I love that. I was like, "You are on fire. You go." But I would
now,
love for you to share.
guys, you told me
What's
I'm
that?
gonna let your thing.
No, no, you are
I,
good.
I
We've got
on. I'm gonna let you lead.
we've got a magician. He's a podcast editor. He will make it work. He's amazing. Um,
Well,
I would love. Yeah, what were you gonna
go
say?
ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say what you shared at Beyond the Ponytail about your dandelions, about your memoir, about everything that you've had to overcome, and how you've in your memoir is like literally a symbolism for your inner vision, your inner strength, your ability, your resilience, your like I can never say this word. Perseverance? Perse-
Persevere.
Perseverance, yeah. I can never say it. Perseverance to go through everything that you have experienced, to move your family from Romania to America, to then show up and do your hair education. So, like, this is in the earlier days before you even went into bridal, whilst working at the real estate, and then also doing hairdressing, and then leading into like your bridal hairstyling academy, and then into your tools, and now into mentorship and coaching. Could you just share what, like, share more about Dandelions, like your memoir, and
Dandelion.
what
What is the
the
lion?
symbolism.
So I'm gonna start from the beginning for people to understand why my logo has a dandelion on it, why my toolbox has a dandelion on it, why my memoirs are called Dandelion. So I'm coming from a small country in East Europe. It's the only Latin country in Europe. We are surrounded by Slavic countries like Russia, Bulgaria, Hungary. We are a small country. We've been under communists from 1948 to 1989. So by the time I was born, I think the country was already under communists for a long time. And I was born exactly when communism was at the peak of it. And my people were going through very hard times and a lot of hardship, meaning that we had closed borders, one TV station only. Uh, we did not have any knowledge about what's going on outside of our country. We did not get to see any news or have any news about what's going on outside our country. I remember as a child that we learned in geography and history about other countries, continents, and all that. But because we never got to actually see that or like actually see any news or any movies, or like, for example, we only had one TV station that was controlled by the government, and we it would only run like for a few hours a day, usually 6 to 8 in the afternoon, and that those news would be about the president and what good he did for the country. We did not have any movies, any cartoons, any news about what's going on outside, so we never knew actually what's going on outside. As kids, we thought a lot of times that we're actually the only country on the planet. We were that secluded and that isolated. We did not have any knowledge about anything that happens outside of our borders, and nobody could leave the country. You could not go and get a visa and leave the country. That was unheard of in our country.
Gosh.
So you can imagine we did not have any knowledge of what's going on outside. We did not have any access to any information or any kind of information. We would have a curfew after 10 o'clock. If you were caught on streets, you're going to be jailed after 10 o'clock.
Jailed.
We jailed. You could not be outside on the streets after 10 o'clock. Everything was rationed, from food to electricity to gas to you name it. Anything that is pertaining to life was rationed. And each family would have its own card. Each member of the family would have its own card. And we would stay in lines at the grocery stores every 2 days to get our portion of 2 eggs and half of a bread per person. And that was our food. There was no meat, no dessert, no stuff like that. Our base meals were mostly rice and potatoes and bread.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, the a lot of people were trying to cross the border illegally during the communism, and a lot of them would end up being killed, or being jailed for years and years, and then they would get out and they would not be human beings anymore because of the tortures that they would be put through. And three of my dad's brothers, three of my uncles, crossed the border illegally, and they made it to Europe. They've been there for 6 months, and then they were released to make it to America. So in the 80s, they made it to America, and they started sending letters and pictures at home. And I remember my dad receiving those open. If you would receive any mail from outside of the country, you would receive
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And
Wow.
a lot of times, letters, if it was something that they thought it's a threat to the government, if the letter, for example, it was a letter with pictures and the letter contains something regarding the government, the letter would be actually taken out and you would receive just the pictures.
Right.
Or
Okay.
anything was like, if you would get a letter where you would get a description of what's going on outside, that letter
Mhm.
would never make it to you.
Oh,
So
so if they
when,
were describing life in America,
like, yeah, if
oh my,
if it was anything like that in the letter, and they would not say just, I'm good, we have everything we need, we miss you guys, you would get it. But if it was any description about what's going on outside, about the lifestyle there, you would not receive those
oh my
letters.
gosh. Could not even.
So when my dad started to receive those later letters, and I was like literally staring at those pictures in disbelief, because it looked like it was not on this planet. It was a totally different world, like convertible cars and high blocks and palms and trees that I have never seen, and exotic fruits, and it was like a totally different world, nothing that we were living on a daily basis or experience on a daily basis. And as a child, going through that hardship and growing up on the streets alone, because our parents were forced to work 3 shifts, so they were never home, and we were left in weekly institutions since we were 1 or 2 years old until we were 3, 4 years old. We didn't see our parents until
At all.
Sunday.
At all. So
They
you
would
like not even
at
during
all.
the nighttime or anything.
No, they would drop us on Monday morning at 6 o'clock and pick us up at Saturday afternoon. And we would
Oh,
only get to Saturday night and Sunday with them. And on Monday, we would be dropped in those weekly institutions again. And then by 5 years old, we would have the key on our neck, and we were be on the streets by ourselves, cooking, taking care of ourselves, because the parents were never around. So you can imagine what an impact those pictures had on me
mm,
after, like, pretty much growing up on my own, surviving on my own, and living the life that we were living, making my homework after 8 o'clock at candlelight, because we had the power was taken off at 8 p.m. every night. The heat, we had no heat. We were heating our apartments with cracking the stove, putting the gas stove on AM to PM. And that's where we were spending most of our days and nights, because it was the warmest room in the house.
yeah.
And I would do my homework at candlelight, and this was the life I lived. So looking at those pictures, all I could dream of was to one day live that life. And I was living in a really bad neighborhood. And our background was a field in front of our block, a valley. And that valley was full with dandelions every spring. And in our culture, we have this belief that if you blow into dandelions until you run out of breath, all of your wishes will come true. And I spend every spring in that dandelion field in front of my block, uh, having normal wishes like bring my dad home more often, or let us have meat this Christmas, or let me have a gum like the kids around the block have, or like stuff that I've never seen, you know. And once those pictures started to arrive, my wishes became bigger and bigger and bigger. And I found myself every spring in that dandelion field, blowing into dandelions until I ran out of breath. And I was not wishing for anything else other than making it to America. And I was telling myself, I know this is funny, but this was the child in me dreaming. And I was telling myself while I was blowing into those dandelions, one day I will make it to America and I will be rich and famous.
And here we are.
I'm still working on the rich and famous part, but I did make it to America eventually. I didn't have to cross the border illegally because revolution happened in 89 and I was 14 years old when that happened. So we became a free country and the borders opened. So eventually in my 30s, I applied for the lottery visa and I won. My husband won actually. And I saw one of my dreams and one of the wishes blown into those dandelions coming true. And I made it to America. I immigrated to America in 2006. My daughter was 1.5. I was 30 years old. I had $300 in my pocket and a small suitcase and a heart and a mind full of big dreams. And all of those big dreams were shattered when I made it here because America was not what I saw in the movies. Know? It was nothing that I imagined and everything that I hoped for. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I made my suitcase for the first 6 months every day, and I wanted to return home. And because I am not a quitter, I actually never made it home. I just said, I'm going to stay another week and another week and another week and another week until I make it. And honest to God, I didn't really thought that I'm going to stay. My purpose was and my focus was to stay here for 5 years, take my citizenship, and give a chance to my daughter in case in the future she wants to be somewhere else, do something else. I thought this would be a second chance for her, but I really didn't see myself staying here in the beginning. And then 5 years later, after taking my citizenship and going back to home, going back home, visiting, I felt, how should I say it? Uh, I felt like I had no roots there anymore, but I
Mhm.
had no roots here either. And I felt like I was in between homes, but not really home anywhere, not
Yeah.
there, not anymore. And then you're staying just to figure out where you want to be.
Yeah.
And the more you stay, the more this becomes your home, you know. And eventually, I I had a tough life. None of my education from my country was recognized. I have studied psychology and art in Romania and made it here. And I even took my license as a cosmetologist there because a lot of my friends immigrated in the States and they told me, Lala, you should be prepared for plan B.
Mhm.
All of us that immigrated there, none of our studies was recognized, and we had to like start fresh from scratch. So I took my license as a cosmetology in Romania. In the case, my other degrees were not recognized. To my surprise, not even that was recognized. So when I made it here, my only choice was to just take a job. So that's what I did. I took a job as a property manager, renting apartments on a small property of 45 units. I knew no English. Um, we came here right when that economic depression started. It was the beginning
Mhm.
of it. And by 2007, a year later, we were at the peak of it. You know, my husband was working in constructions. He started getting less and less jobs. My job was only making $240 a month. I was working full time
A
as a
month.
property. teenager making only $240 a month because the apartment was part of my salary.
Yes.
So you can imagine my husband, no jobs. I'm making $240. There is no freaking way for three people to survive on $240. So that's when I started to do kitchen hair, like in my kitchen. And I go to senior houses on the weekends to do hair and nails for the. So I pretty much started to work three jobs in my first year in America. I was already in between three jobs, carrying my child with me in the places I was working. And in 2008, it got worse and worse. We went more and more in debt, living like literally off of credit cards.
Mm.
And I had days when I had nothing to eat, and I would put food on a plate for my husband and my daughter. I would have like 2 3 eggs left, few potatoes, and I
Mm.
would put it in front of them and lie to them that I ate already. And I would
Oh.
take a trip to the office because I was living on the property and the office was there. And I remember I would take trips at night at the office and eat candies from the bowl at the office so I can, like, you know, feel a little bit less hangry.
Angry. On a sugar high.
I was looking forward to my weekends at the senior houses because I would like steal something from the fridge when nobody was looking and have something in my empty stomach. So I've been through tough times for 9 years.
Oh.
And 9 years later, I remember going to. And in 2008, I decided to go and take my license in cosmetology because psychology was out of the question. Art school was out of the question as well. I could not see myself for another 7 years in college. I had no money, no support,
Mm.
no family to take care of my daughter. I was already struggling financially. So I had to look at something that will give me something that will give me like a license in a short period of time and allow me to work and make money a different way. And that's when I decided to go to school. And the first school that I applied to was Paul Mitchell School.
Oh.
And they denied my application because my English was terrible. They didn't tell me it was because of my English. They just wished me the best in my future endeavors. But I
Mhm.
figured that it was probably my poor English. I went and applied to another one and another one and another one until someone approved me and accepted me. And that's when the fun started because I didn't understand any English. I don't even know how they hired me, to be honest with you. I, re- I remember the tenants coming into my office and telling me what is wrong in their apartment. And I would listen and not understand a word they were saying. I
You're
was
just
just
like, yeah.
like nodding.
Nodding.
And just ask, what apartment number? And they would tell me the apartment number, and then I will send my maintenance guy who was Romanian as well, and he was not speaking any English. And I would just tell him, just go and ask them to show you because I have no idea.
Like,
But
there
it's
is a
that
problem.
apartment.
The problem, go solve it. Thank you.
And I
Oh my
went through
God.
the same when I went in school. Like a lot of times, my instructors would have to do sign language to help me understand what they were trying to do. And they had to put the extra time to help me out when I was doing consultation on my clients and, you know,
Mhm.
cosmetology school. And we would have a written test every day that I could not take any notes for because I could understand a quarter of what they were saying. So, second day in the morning, I would like be in at the office 8 to 4 every day with my daughter in my arms, renting apartments, doing monthly reports and budgets, and answering phone calls and being on the computer with my toddler daughter in my arms. And then at 4 o'clock, I would drop her home with my husband, run to school, take my written test every day, and then be on the floor doing 5 to 6 clients until 12 o'clock at night.
Oh my
I
God.
would then have to clean, do all that. I would leave school 12:30 at night, make it home around 1, cook, clean, do laundry, do everything that I needed to do, go to sleep 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and be up at 7 so I can be in the office at 8 o'clock and get my daughter ready. And
Do
then on Sundays and Saturdays, I was in the senior houses with my daughter around. So I graduated. It was not easy. It was hard. I remember myself being in the office while renting apartments and having a toddler daughter with me, asking me every 5 minutes when we're going home that she needs to poop, to pee, that she's bored.
the pain.
And I would have to take a cosmetology book and go over the chapter that was given to us the day before in the class because I couldn't take any notes. I would take one sentence out, look for each word in the dictionary, put all those words together, and then try to figure out what the sentence says,
Oh my
and then go to the one and next one and next one. And that's how I would study for that daily test so I can finish school. And I graduated top on my class. Out of 20 something that we started, only six of us graduated. Out of all those six, only three of us are doing hair. And out of those three, I am the only one who got my name out there. I graduated school in 2009, still having three jobs. I changed school with salon, rented a chair in a salon, thinking that I know it all and I don't have to assist. Big, 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 big mistake. If anyone out there just finished school, don't do that. Listen to me. Go get educated and then rent a chair. You're not you don't know it all. And you don't know shit actually when you get out of school, even if you've been through two. Okay. So
Love that. Oh my God, solid advice. So good.
So
Wow.
here I am, sitting in a salon, waiting for walk-ins and having no idea what I'm doing and paying for a chair that I'm not using and getting more and more into debt and making it eventually into 2014. I graduated 2009. So 5 years later, I still have maybe a quarter of the clientele that I should have because I'm still keeping my job as a property manager because it's giving me a roof above my head, right? And I'm in 2014 and having maybe one client a day, which is not paying that chair.
No.
It's not because you can build clientele when you're going after 5 o'clock in a salon and
Yeah.
waiting for work, right? Regardless of how good you are.
Mhm.
And I was still doing the senior houses on the weekends. And I'm going in the salon on August of 2014. And I take my daughter with me and we make it at the salon. And my daughter tells me once we made it there that she wants to go to the park behind the salon. And I tell my daughter that Mama cannot go. We need to sit in the salon to make some extra money because we have nothing to eat. And my dear daughter that never complained about anything ever in her life throws a fit. She throws herself on the floor and she has a nervous breakdown in a full salon full of clients. And I am so devastated. And she tells me that I'm a terrible mom and why she can have nice shoes and nice clothes like the other kids and why she can have sleepovers and why she can be at the park with the other kids and why she can have friends. And like it was not enough and hard enough for me. And I was already feeling like a failure as far as it goes to being a mom, and being in between three jobs for 9 years and not getting any sleep and not getting any rest and not getting any support and losing hope that anything is going to change and seeing your child struggling and feeling like a failure of a mom because you you see that you're not raising her right. I had no strength and no power to pick up from the floor. I found myself running in the back room and having a fight with God and telling him that he sucks. And I'm sitting on the floor in the back room crying my heart out. And I'm telling God, you know what, you suck. Him in this country to have a better life, to give my child a better life. And I've been struggling for the past 9 years. And I'm not a lazy butt. I'm like, I'm really working here, God, and you're not helping.
Yeah. You're like, I'm doing
What
my part.
what do I have to do for you to remember my name? And I made a deal with God in that back room in 2014, beginning of August. And I said, I'm going to make a deal with you today. If you help me make a living through hair only and leave my other two jobs and be able to spend time with my daughter, quality time with my daughter, and offer her a better life, I promise you that every person that will sit in my chair will know how you change my life around. And that was beginning of August of 2014. And then a week later, I get that client who's asking me to do her hair. And then 3 weeks later, I'm putting a notice at the salon and I'm saying that I give up on doing hair. Only 3 weeks after I asked God to help me make a living through hair only, I'm ready to quit on hair. And I mentioned that I opened that Instagram account right after that, and I bought a mannequin doll and I started to practice. And I really wanted to learn how to do that style in case she comes back to my chair to be able to offer that service to her for free. And by December, the end of December, I got my first phone call from a salon owner because back then I had my phone number out there, right? I was trying to attract clientele and make money. And she calls me and she tells me that she would love me to come to her salon and train her team on bridal hair. And of course, I'm laughing. I'm starting to laugh and I'm not taking it seriously. I'm like, girl, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is just a hobby for me. And she's like, aren't you Lala Subdues? I'm like, yeah, that's my handle, my Instagram handle, but this is a hobby. Like I'm a cutting colorist. I'm like, I don't do bridal hair. And she's like, you mean everything it's on your page, that's a hobby? And I'm like, yeah, girl, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just playing with my clothes and my cousin's hair. And she's like, but you work so beautiful. I'm like, oh, thank you. She's like, I'm going to $100 for each person if you come and teach a 3 hours class. I have 7 people.
Oh,
I'm like, oh my
wow.
God, that's rent for 1 month for my chair. I'm like, I don't make that much money in a month in a salon
Mm.
waiting for walk-ins. And I'm telling the girl, you know what? I only know how to do 4 styles. That's only I can teach you. She's like, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Just come and teach us. So I'm saying yes, literally just because I am hungry. Not not because I felt confident, not because I felt comfortable. And I was thinking, 7 people, small class. I've never done this before, but I know how to do these 4 styles, 703 hours. Oh my gosh, that's going to help me so much. So I'm saying yes because I'm hungry. And I'm going there with 3 of my friends as my models. I threw up 3 times on my way there.
Oh,
One more
God.
time salon. I'm ready to convince the salon owner that I am not ready for that and that English is my second language and I just threw up and I'm not feeling well and this was not a good idea. And I make it inside the salon and oh my God, I thought I'm in the wrong place. I have 40 people waiting for me, not 7. She spread the word about it. People look at
Oh
my
my God,
page,
Lala.
my week, so they just wanted to learn from me. And here I am sitting in front of a 40 people class, not 7 people class. And my first question is, how many of you here are bridal stylists? And more than half of them are raising they're making a living through doing bridal hair. And I have never taught a class in my life. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know anything about upstyling. I don't know anything about products. English is my second language. I've never taught a class before. I don't even know what to do with myself. I didn't even knew what my name was. I was that nervous. To make the story short, I made it through the class. It was very successful. I posted about it. And once I posted about it, in the next 2 weeks, I got several emails from salon owners all around United States that wanted me to go and teach in their salon. And I was like, oh my God. And my first class ever was in January of 2015, only 6 months after I had that failure with the bridal hair and the decision to get out of my comfort zone and learn something that I was not passionate about it, but I just wanted to learn because I didn't want it to feel like that ever again.
Mhm.
Feeling out of the comfort zone, it might feel scary, but in the same time, makes you feel like a failure. And I did not want it to feel like a failure ever in my life again.
Mhm.
And I said, if that means I'm going to take myself out of the comfort zone and do something that I have never done, I will do it so I can feel again in my comfort zone.
Mhm. Oof, love that.
So literally, I made a career around, I would not say a mistake because I want to believe that God made that thing happen in my life so he can turn my life around. And I have learned in my 47 years of experience, of life experience, that nothing grows out of your comfort zone. And
Mhm.
most of the times when God wanted to bless me, because I didn't want it to move, he needed to kick my butt. And every door that was shut in my face opened actually a bigger door and a bigger blessing for me.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful that I I took that challenge and I decided to not allow one failure to decide my destiny. And I am happy that I said yes to something that was out of my comfort zone and the unknown, because the unknown gave me unknown blessings
Yes.
that I would have never get to experience if I didn't decided to explore that unknown, you know. And I was blessed beyond my request. I told God, I'm going to tell every person on my chair about how you changed my life around. And he was like, oh, you want to talk about me and how I can change people's life around? How about I put you in front of hundreds and thousands at a time, not one at a time? And I found myself like literally in a matter of 6 months from working behind the chair and struggling to teaching classes on weekends and making in 3 hours the money that I used to make in a month. And that happened in a matter of 6 months only, without being a bridal educator, without being a platform artist, without taking any bridal classes ever in my career. I was teaching literally just what I have discovered by playing with hair on a daily basis. And you said something in the beginning that stuck with me. You said, I was amazed by this quick transition and how you transition from one thing to another and you made it happen. And it might look that way because on social media, we never really post our failures. Nobody likes to talk about failures, right? But now that I'm sharing my story with you, you see that my journey to make it where I'm at today, although it looks like I made it there in a very short period of time, it was a long, long journey to make it there. And it was certain decisions that helped me make it there. And one of them, and the most important, was stepping out of the comfort zone, you know, and saying yes to something that I didn't really want to do or I was interested to do, you know.
Yeah.
And that brought me to an educator career in only 6 months. And from there, like literally it spiraled. That one decision to take the first step brought me to the top of the ladder. Was it hard? Heck yeah.
Thank you for joining me today, gorgeous. If you're loving this episode, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could take a screenshot, share, and tag me in all of your socials. I love seeing this podcast reach as many ears because I want to help so many women access more time, more revenue, more growth in their business without sacrifice. This is my absolute goal for this podcast. So don't forget to hit subscribe or follow and leave an epic 5-star review, because for every review, you will receive free access to my Ignite Master Course, which was worth $2,991. So Ignite was a 3-hour business growth conversation to help you overcome your challenges, accelerate your business, and implement strategies that will help you to access more revenue, more time, and more growth, and help you to create the lifestyle and business of your dreams in the next 12 months. For every review, I will send you through access for Ignite Master Course. This is insanely epic. So once you've left your review, send me a DM with the word Ignite and I'll send you through your discount code so you can access Ignite for free, gorgeous. Thank you so much for joining me, and I shall see you in the next episode.